Hi, my name is Kat, or the Fairy Librarian, and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing my October TBR game. If you wanna, I'll make a playlist of the previous installments and link it if I remember to do that. If not, I forgot. So, no. September was not a great writing month for me. I mean, there's still a few days left, but I don't plan, or I don't think I'll get a lot of reading. I'd love to, but just realistically, I don't think that's gonna happen. So there's a lot of books on my September TBR that I was not able to finish, which I've been traveling, and then the new year at university started. So reading time has not happened. I'm still trying to find my routine with the university stuff. So I hope that October will be better in that regard. But that means there are quite a few books that I had on my September TBR that I wasn't able to read. And usually this is the point where I would just go over the list and then say whether I read them or not, and then roll them over if I didn't. But it's a lot of them, and I really need a bit of a fresh TBR, I feel. So I'm just not going to do that, because my philosophy with everything that has to do with reading and this channel is, it's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If something doesn't sound fun anymore, I'm just not going to do it anymore. And right now, rolling over like 7 books. I don't know if it's 7, but I think it might be 7. Does not sound fun. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to do the rolls, and that's going to be my TBR. And then we'll see what we end up with. I go into every single month thinking I don't have a lot of things that I committed to in terms of like buddy reads, book clubs, that stuff. And then right before starting to fill my TBR, I compiled a list, and turns out I've committed to too many things again. So I'll try to fit them into the game. If not, I'll talk about them at the end. I hope that the game will be a little bit nicer to me than it was last month, because last month it gave some very, very specific prompts. So I hope that'll give me a bit, broader prompts that I might be able to fit it in. But so let's get into it and get into the first roll. So the setup is a little bit differently because the lighting was not great. I mean, it's just in a different location, or it is at the same location, but filmed from a different angle because the lighting in the other one was terrible. So, yeah. But I'm gonna play with my green little goose for today. So let's get into the first roll. A 2, 1, and a 4. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. A normal prompt. And the prompt is adult. That's not too hard. I asked for broad prompts, and the game delivered because I got a book targeted at an adult audience, which that's a lot of books. So I decided, let's just make my life easy and put on one of the book club books on here. And so for the first roll, I'm going to be reading The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff. This is the book picked for the Evil Minds Research Group, which is a book club. It's a completely new book club. This is the first book that will be read. and it's completely mystery focused. I'm pretty sure that the Bandit Queens is not really a mystery technically, but you know, details. It was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction at some point. And I believe it's about this group of women in India, and like one of them, people thought that she had murdered her husband, and she was like, sure, it's kind of convenient that people believe that, so I'll just let them believe that. And then other women ask her for help to maybe get rid of their husband as well. It sounds fun. It sounds like a blast, and I've been wanting to read it for a while, so it's going on the TBR. Rule number 2. A 3, a 1, and a 2. We're not getting big numbers today. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2. Normal prompt. And the prompt is hyped. So the next roll gave me a book that is hyped, and for that one I decided to go with an author who is insanely hyped on a lot of different bookish platforms, and that is Sarah J. Maas. And so the book is A Court of Mist and Fury. I actually had hoped to be able to get to it in September, but I don't know if I will, so I'll just put it on here. The second book in the ACOTAR series, you probably don't need to be told what ACOTAR is about. It's a fantasy romance with fae, and I really enjoyed it, and I want to read the second book. So yeah, I'll put it on here. Roll number 3. 4, 4, and 4. Okay, that's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another normal prompt. And the prompt is building on the cover. Gonna have to think about this one. So next I got the prompt building on the cover, and for that I decided to go with a romance, and that is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This is the first book in the Bright Falls trilogy. I've already read the second book, but it's a romance series. You can read them out of order. And I really, really loved the second book. It was one of my favorite books of last year. So yeah, I really have high hopes. It's a sapphic contemporary romance about a one Delilah Green who has to or she's asked to be a photographer on her stepsister's wedding, but she has a very bad relationship with her stepsister. But maybe going there is not quite the ordeal that she thought, because she meets one of the stepsister's best friends and romance blossoms. I really liked book 2. I've heard great things about book 1, so I'm super excited. Rule number 4. A 1, a 4, and a 4. It really likes 4s, apparently, this game. 1, a 1, a 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Another normal prompt. And the prompt is random number generator. So the next prompt I got was a random number generator. Now at the end of this game, I always do a random number generator with my entire TBR. That's not how I'm doing this prompt. What I do is I have a couple books that I just do random number to decide between those. So I made a list of 5 books that are all final books in series that I'm really excited to get to. So number 1 is The Last Argument of Kings, the 3rd book in the First Law trilogy. The 2nd book is These Gossamer Strings by Allegra Pescatore, the 3rd book in the Last Gift trilogy. The 3rd one is The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart, which is the 3rd book in the Drowning Empire trilogy. The 4th is Actor Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is the final book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. And it would have been beautiful to also end with a trilogy, because then it would be 5 third books in trilogies. But no, alas, it's only a duology, because the final book, number 5, is The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, the 2nd book in the Six Crimson Cranes duology. So I'll insert the random number generator clip here. And as you can see, the chosen book was book number 5, so that is The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, the 2nd book in the Six Crimson Cranes duology. I really loved the first book. I read it last year in April, so quite a while ago. But I'd heard some mixed things about the 2nd book, so a little bit nervous. But I do really want to read it. So I'm gonna put it on this TBR now, apparently. Yeah, I'm excited. The first book was great, so I hope that this is at least enjoyable. Roll number 5. A 2, a 3, and a 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And we hit a goose. So we go back to where we came from, and we pick a goose prompt. Let's go with this one. And the prompt is 2 prompts, 2 books. So let's pick the 2 prompts then, I guess. I already have 2, so that's good. The first one is person on the cover. That's doable. And the second one is I need to roll a die and then that many words in the title. So let's do that. A 3-word title. Okay. So for the 5th roll, I hit a goose spot because of course I did, and I draw 2 prompts for 2 books, so 1 book per prompt, obviously. And I actually managed to make it 2 books by the same author, that author being Sarah J. Maas, who I also have another book by her on this TBR already, because apparently I want a very SJM heavy month. But also I have currently 4 books by her checked out from the library. So, I mean, I kind of need to get started on those. So, the first book, the first prompt that I drew was a person on the cover. And for that, I'm going to be reading A Court of Wings and Ruin, the 3rd book in the ACOTAR series. So I can just, once I finish ACOMAF, I can just move right along into ACOWAR. And yeah, I'm excited about this one. And then the other one was I had to roll the die, and that's the amount of words in the title. And I got 3, so a 3-word title, and for that I'm going to be reading Heir of Fire, which is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, which is a YA fantasy. It's not a fantasy romance. Lately, I've heard a lot of people call it a fantasy romance, which is not. It's just a YA fantasy about this assassin called Seline, who in the first book was in a competition, like an assassin competition, to become the queen's champion. It has moved on way beyond that, but I'm really excited to finally get to read Heir of Fire. Roll number 6. A 6, a 5, and a 5. Suddenly we're getting high numbers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we get to move that amount forward with a goose spot. So let's do that. So we get to the end spot, so we'll also do the random number generator, but I'm gonna draw my goose prompt first. I'm gonna do it like here so we don't have to bend over the table all the way. Let's go with this one. And it says, replace a book with a mood read. So I can now pick a book that is already on my TBR and just replace it with something else that I need to read this month. I mean, with having to read another book this month, but it doesn't, I don't have to pick one now. So I think that then I am gonna go for, oh, this is hard. I think Delilah Green. I'm gonna remove Delilah Green and replace that with a mood read. I can still read Delilah Green, of course, for this, because that would then also be a mood read, but I don't have to. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm gonna go with. Now I'm not sure, because I hit the end spot now. Is that then just the book for this roll, or do I also draw a prompt to add another book? Because usually if I don't really get a reading prompt with the goose prompt, I do that. But now I'm not sure what to do. You know what? I'm just gonna draw a prompt and see if I like it. And if I do, I'm gonna pick a book for it. And if I don't, then I'm just gonna ignore that this ever happened. Okay, the prompt is an author that was on last month's TBR. I am not sure what authors were all on last month's TBR. I mean, Sarah J. Maas was on last month's TBR. Do you want a fourth one? What was on last month's TBR? I'm gonna need to check. So then I landed on a goose spot where I got to remove a book from my TBR with a mood read. So I picked Delilah Green. I can still read that one, but just from the ones, like, I have a lot of books that are slightly higher priority than that one that are on the list, even though I really want to read Delilah Green. I also really want to read all of them. I'm really excited about my TBR because I decided to see if drawing next a prompt for that goose spot, what I was going to do with it, because I also had the end spot, and I decided to keep it. I got a book by an author that was on last month's TBR. This can be a book that was on last month's TBR, but doesn't have to be. But that is actually the route I'm going to take with this, because last month on my TBR was Temptation Ridge by Robyn Carr. I believe that's the correct title. It's the 6th book in the Virgin River series, which I didn't manage to get to, and I do really want to read it. So I'm just gonna put that one. It is by an author who also had a book on last month's TBR. It's the same book, but you know, it fits the prompt, so I'm gonna put on that one. It's a series of contemporary reads set in this town called Virgin River. They all have a strong romantic components, but there's also a lot of other stuff going on, so it's not really a romance. But I really liked almost all of them so far. I didn't have book 5, which I was really bummed about because the other ones were all excellent. So I'm gonna hope that book 6 is good again and that the 5th one was just a little dud. But so yeah, that is the penultimate book, because now I am going to take you to the random number generator. This is the spreadsheet that, if you've been watching these videos, you may be a little bit familiar with. It tells me that I have 453 lines filled in the spreadsheet. There's so many books on here, oh my gosh. So let's go to 453 and generate. The number is 86. So let's see. 86. Oh, that's a nonfiction about religion. I need to look up the English title for that. So I'll be back in a minute. So the random number generated picked "And a Man Created God, A History of the World in the Time of Jesus" by Seline O'Grady. So I'll read the Goodreads synopsis to you. At the end of the 1st century BC, the world was full of gods. Thousands of them jostled, competed, and merged with one another. In Syria, ecstatic devotees castrated themselves in the streets so as to become priests of Atargatis. In Galilee, holy men turned oil into wine and claimed to be the Messiah. Kings, queens, and emperors were riding on the backs of these religions to increase their power. And Man Created God considers how and why religious belief has such an immense impact on human history by identifying the roots of belief within societies. O'Grady looks at the whole world in one short period and asks a specific question. Why did Christianity grow so quickly and become the predominant world religion? The beliefs held by a tiny Jewish sect in an obscure corner of the mighty Roman Empire would have seemed doomed to disappear within a few generations. Instead, they became the official religion of the empire. What was it about Christian ideas that appealed to people in so many different cultures at that time? Beginning in Rome, expanding her view out to Gaul, Germania, North Africa, and the Near East, Persia, and beyond to China, the author sifts through the economic, political, and social-cultural facts to understand why some ideas die and others thrive in a thrilling new work of history. Okay, that actually sounds really interesting. I always seem so surprised when I read the synopses of this book, but often I genuinely do not remember what they're about. I just know the title. I'm not mad at this. I don't know if I want the nonfiction, but now that it's on here, I'm not mad about it. So yeah, this is the one that I'm going to be reading. It doesn't have a ton of ratings, but maybe that's normal for nonfiction. I don't really look up a lot of nonfiction on here. So, yeah. Sounds interesting. So let's go over the TBR and then add one more book to it, shall we? So, the books that are on my October TBR are The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff for a book targeted at an adult audience, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas for a hyped book, then A Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim for a random number generator pick, Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas for a 3-word title, A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas for a person on the cover, Temptation Ridge by Robyn Carr for an author who also had a book on last month's TBR. And then N-Man Created God by Selena O'Grady for the N spot number generator pick. And then I have one mood read where I can just decide throughout the month what I want to read and then count it towards the TBR. So yeah, that is the game. I have one more book that is a buddy read, which is a Pompeii by Robert Harris. This could be the buddy read, or the mood read, I mean. This is a historical fiction set in, you guessed it, Pompeii. It's by Robert Harris, who also wrote the Kikero trilogy. The first book is Imperium, and I really, really love that series. So I want to read more by him, and we're reading it on Alan's Discord from the Library of Alexandria. There is a bunch of us reading it, so. Yeah, that was all the books. I hope you enjoyed this video, this TBR. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of it, and let me know some books that you're very excited to read in the month of October, and I hope to see you again in another video. Bye!